Know your customer. House of Representatives stops CBN's social media handle requirement. Fuel subsidy removal. House approves President Tinubu's request of 500 billion naira for provision of palliatives. And first-time House members share experiences of their first weeks in the Green Chamber. Business time, it seems, for the House of Representatives as members churn out bills and motions. Now this is in spite of some still struggling to fully settle in. Hello and welcome to You and Your Reps on the NTA. I am Victor Azo. Thank you for joining us. The House of Representatives has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to halt implementation of its policy, directing banks to obtain social media handles of customers as part of enhanced customer due diligence regulations. Now, this follows a joint motion moved by Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda.
House commenced plenary with a 2-hour closed-door session, followed by an announcement by the Speaker on the screening of service chiefs.
Concerning the constitution of an ad hoc committee to screen the military chiefs, and I have the pleasure of informing you that Honorable Jimmy Benson will chair the ad hoc committee, and all principal officers, both from the majority and minority, will be members of that committee.
There were reservations about the CBN Know Your Customer policy.
Nigerians who are not on social media with large turnovers from their businesses and trades would be compared to or systematically excluded from former banking system with its attendant negative effect.
The need to halt the Central Bank of Nigeria's directive on addition of social media handle on Know Your Customer requirements.
This requirement by CBN is needless. CBN need not to go into all these kind of controversies. What do you need a social handle of your customer? Why should bank go through your social handle? Do you operate your bank through your Facebook? Definitely no. All the banks you have the national identity card number. You submit it. You submit a driver's license. They have brought BVN, which is very good. With that BVN, you can trace anybody, anywhere. And whether you have many accounts with just that BVN, you are traced. And that BVN is enough. Why do you have to go into to intrude into other people's personal life? That is not the work of the banking sector. That's not the work of the CBN. They have to do with monetary policy. They have to do with banking and all that relate to finance. That is the work of the security agencies. And already we have many departments of various security agencies tracking people in their various social handles. Definitely don't think that because you post it on your Facebook or your Twitter, you are not being followed. You are being followed.
The Green Chamber equally moves against planned increase of tuition fees by some federal universities.
An increased rate of university dropout may further worsen insecurity in Nigeria. To urge the Federal Minister of Education to review the new school fees regime in federal government colleges and revert to the old regime.
There were also motions condemning fresh attacks on the plateau.
Most of my people live in fear of the unknown due to insecurity and can no longer access their farmlands and their mining sites.
Urge the Inspector General of Police to immediately provide mobile police force squadron formation in the affected communities to safeguard the lives of our people.
If the Office of the National Security Advisor comes into this, there will be a difference.
And other resolutions to bridge infrastructure gaps.
The need to rehabilitate the Benin-Ekpoma-Auchi road to Okene, Kogi State.
The road through Benin, Ekpoma, Auchi, Okene is very crucial to all commuters across the country, because this is the only link road that link the north to the south. Anybody crossing the River Niger to either the south or the north will have to ply this road. And we are talking about the biting effect of the fuel subsidy removal as at today in Nigeria. And you find that people's take-home pay cannot even take them home. Not everybody that will be able to fly an airplane. We don't even have a workable rail system in Nigeria. So you now find that people, apart from those moving goods across, people who want to travel from north to south, moving either perishable or unperishable goods, they have to suffer for days, within this area that is not up to maybe 30 kilometers. And they have to stay there for hours and days. Some of them, they've been robbed. People now have not taken advantage to not carry out all nefarious activities along this area. So for me, if there's any road in the country without any sentiment that I'm from Edo or that I represent my constituency, any well-meaning Nigeria will know that this road should be number one priority for the federal government.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has approved President Tinubu's request to spend 500 billion naira from the 2022 supplementary appropriations of 819.5 billion naira. The money is expected to go towards palliatives for Nigerians to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal.
Giving approval at the Committee of Supply, the House was unanimous that the President has, through his request, demonstrated a human face, calling for judicious application of the palliative funds.
There's nobody in this House who is not feeling the impact of subsidy removal. And I think it is a credit to the executive that they are responding to the cries and yearnings of the Nigerian people.
Yes, let us allow this to pass, but we must be very vigilant in course of implementation and execution of the palliative.
This money is not a freebie. It's not going to be as usual. We have a man that is from the private sector, a man who has a policy drive that is channeled towards bettering the lot of Nigerians.
Is it going to be applied to transportation? Is it going to be applied to healthcare? Is it going to be applied to providing food or feeding or increase in wages?
Report you say aye. Those against you say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, a fresh request from the President sought approval for $800 million loan from the World Bank for the National Social Safety Net program.
Under the conditional cash transfer window of the program, the federal government of Nigeria will transfer the sum of 8,000 naira per month to 12 million poor and low-income households for a period of 6 months.
Several investigative motions were adopted by the House and referred to relevant committees.
Need to investigate the allegation of abuse of tax incentives, tax breaks, and tax waivers by public institutions and companies benefiting from tax incentives.
Investigate the untold hardship faced by Nigerian pilgrims at the recently concluded 2023 Hajj.
A matter of urgent public importance concerning the continuous and unending killings in Zamfara State.
Constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the utilization of ecological funds released to the Great Green Wall by the international organization from 2015 to date.
14 bills passed first reading as the House adjourned to Tuesday, 18th July 2023.
Elsewhere, some first-time members of the House of Representatives have been sharing their experiences after their first few weeks in the Green Chamber. We also asked them their plans for their constituents.
We have a brand new speaker. We have a speaker that has done very well in all his stay in the National Assembly. He has moved a lot of motions. He has sponsored a lot of bills. He has gotten so many of his bills assented to by the president. And from all interactions with him, he's talking about making a difference in the country. He's talking about having a different legislature this time around. So we are cooperating well. We are working well with the speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, and he promises a lot. He's leading us well. For now, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, we have had a very, very good house, a robust house, and it's coming up well.
I want to say that I'm not new to parliamentary practice or procedure, but I have come into a house of 360 members. And to be very honest with you, it's kind of the protocols and the way things are done is different from where we are coming from. And I will explain that. This is National Assembly, and we observe a bicameral legislature. And here, you see that we have about 8 political parties on board this time around. It's not the regular 2-party system. And everyone is struggling to deliver for their constituents. So you don't just sit here and fold your arms, believing that anything will come to you. Whatever you want for yourself, whatever you want for your constituents, whatever you want for Nigeria, you will struggle for it. So I believe that the 10th Assembly is going to be very robust. I'm sure from all the engagement you have seen in the House, check our other paper, you'll see that it's really bloated with everybody wants to speak, everybody wants to be heard, everybody wants to speak on behalf of their constituents. And if you check all the bills that have come in on for first reading, you'll see that it's going to be like a serious interaction, in the next few weeks.
My constituency has suffered a lot of neglect over the years. We're going to be looking at youth empowerment, how to empower our youths. We're also going to be looking at how to train them, skill acquisition. So one of the cardinal areas that we're going to hammer more is to develop what we call a skill acquisition center that will be championed by me. And the essence is to see how we can train our youths. A lot of our youths are unemployed. See how we can train them and engage them either as entrepreneurs that will start up their own businesses and begin to employ others. Big economies in the world depend so much on small and medium scale enterprises. And that is one area that we're lacking in Nigeria. So we must be able to empower our youths to start businesses where they can employ up to 5, between 3, 4, 5 persons. And from there, we begin to, the multiplier effect will just be there. Others will get trained and they also employ. I always said that in the area of agriculture, is another area we must look at critically. Our people are predominantly farmers. So we're going to be looking at all the schemes that we have in the federal government. We're going to look at the schemes, the programs in agriculture to see how our people can benefit from these programs. We'll do this by engaging with all the MDAs that handle most of that these programs are anchored within their agencies or their institutions to see how we can get our constituents to participate in those programs.
What does executive communication mean, and what is the scope in legislative business? Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business in the 9th House, Abubakar Fulata, will provide answers. That's on the Legislative Terms and Tools segment.
Whenever the president is presenting a bill, he writes a letter attached to a bill to Mr. Speaker, or he wants to come and address a joint session of the House. He writes a letter which will now be formally presented to Mr. Speaker. The Speaker now immediately House starts sitting. Mr. Speaker will now read aloud the communication, the letter, so addressed to the House, to the hearing of all members, and then it will be noted. If it is one that require giving Mr. President time, then President will be given time to appear before, or normally the President fixes his time. I would like to come and address a joint session on so date. And then the South will now suspend some of its rules to allow outsiders to the House. Once you are not a member, you are an outsider. We have to suspend our rules to allow you in. So motion will be moved to that effect by the majority leader, seeking for suspension of our rules to allow outsiders to come.
Nigerians are bracing for the appointment of ministers any moment now. So what are their expectations of the incoming Federal Executive Council members? We asked some Nigerians on the streets of Abuja.
I pray that these people, the Minister of Health, shall be minister to stand and know what is going on in the hospitals. Because when you go to general hospitals now, nothing to write on. Because that health hospital general, how can somebody have accident and have problem? It's unless you bring doctor's report. Because of it, they will drive on to private, and which the person cannot be able to pay.
They are supposed to have a teamwork, work together, and then make sure that lives and properties are secured. That is the most important and vital thing they should focus on. Education is very important because from education you can get health practitioners. From education you can get professionals that will handle the infrastructure. From education you can get professionals that will take care of agriculture. I believe if there is enough investment in education, Nigeria is going to move forward.
If they emphasize on security, it will bring the, because without the security, without the peace and the unity, there is not people will not concentrate to the development in the nation.
The 9th House of Representatives developed the joint task slogan to drive its agenda, and what a success it was. So what is the philosophy of the 10th House? We posed this question to Deputy Majority Leader Abdullahi Ibrahim Halims. He also speaks about his legislative agenda.
I was part of the 9th Assembly, and we had a very peaceful and useful session. And
luckily and to the glory of God, I am in the 10th Assembly. And I can assure you that all the successes recorded in the last 9th Assembly were as a result of the cooperation of the members and the principles of joint tax nation building. So we saw sense, we saw credibility in the joint tax nation building. And that is why this 10th Assembly, that principle is brought in and renewed as another joint tax for the 10th Assembly with a renewed hope for the masses. By the grace of God, I am a part of the leadership, and leadership is driven by vision. The vision of the Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and all of us in the leadership will come with a vision. We have a vision to drive the leadership and eventually drive the whole house together so that there will be peace, there will be development, and finally a very good relationship with the executive so that dividends of democracy can get to the grassroots. I have good program for the youths as far as this my second tenure is concerned. Youth empowerment, the widows, agricultural, revolution, so that we can key in effectively as far as my constituency is concerned. And by the grace of God, our agenda for this assembly will touch effectively the grassroots so that the renewed hope as preached by our principal, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and our party APC will be seen to be working effectively. All frantic efforts to ensure that Ajaokuta comes to production, was not as successful as my push was. At the tail end of the administration of our session, there was intention by the ministry or the government to concession Ajaokuta out. And I came wild on the floor of the assembly. And there was a motion unanimously agreed that Ajaokuta should not go that way yet. Because we saw that there may be some intention behind it, which may not be useful, may not be economic, which may not be economical, which may not be, productive to reasons for establishing Ajaokuta Steel Complex. So as we are coming in this 10th Assembly, by the grace of God, we want to settle down and see the government direction on Ajaokuta so that we can aid the government legislatively in terms of, providing all legal framework to ensure that, yes, Ajaokuta comes to production. Because why some of us are interested in the Ajaokuta is not because it's in Kogi State. Ajaokuta in full production will provide, even to artisan alone, over 400,000 workers. And skilled workers, over 100 and something thousand. And that is, what am I saying? A lot of employment for our people. That is why some of us are interested to boost the economy of the immediate environment and even beyond. And you know what it is? Industrial revolution for this country. But all the forces against Ajaokuta, by the grace of God, will be removed by this present administration. We had a promise from him during his campaign, and we believe he's going to achieve it.
Well, time will tell if the 10th House of Representatives will surpass the accomplishments of the 9th House. The clock is ticking. You and your reps returns same time next week. Let's keep the date. I am Victor Azul. See you then.